Harine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 10. Does anyone remember any main point from yesterday?
Hare Krishna. We
Hare
heard
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We heard Narad Muni, how Narad Muni has explained the mystery of yogic meditation, how a devotee attains Sarupya Mukti. A devotee actually wants intimate, loving relationship with Lord only. He incessantly thinks of the Lord. Also in Chaitanya's instruction to Sanatan Goswami, uh, we heard about how a pure devotee outwardly follows all the rules, regulations in the world, and worldly, and he thinks and is attached to Krishna only in a particular mellow. And although all rasas are transcendental, Madhurya rasa is considered to be the fullest and the most transcendental mellow. Then we also heard about Raganuga Bhakti, which is also outwardly chanting by a devotee, but inwardly he follows and cultivates the mood of a devotee in Vrindavan. But this can be done only by expert guidance by a bona fide spiritual master. Then you also heard about Narad Muni talking to Yudhishthira about he has explained all to him how Shishupal has attained salvation. Even he explained that one who constantly thinks of Lord's associates also acquires a transcendental position. It's Lord's loving reciprocation. Then he also told that we must follow in the footsteps of Prahlāda Maharaj. And in this narration by Narad Muni about Krishna, there are Lord's, he has explained about Lord's various expansions, avatars. He has also described the characteristics of great and exalted devotee Prahlāda Maharaj, his unflinching devotional service, his perfect knowledge, perfect detachment from material contamination. In his prayers, we also heard how he has described the transcendental qualities of the Lord, how various abodes of demigods and demons are destroyed by Lord's direction in a moment of time. Then we also heard Narad Muni saying that one must hear about avatars and avatar katha. It is spiritual punya. We should refer to Shastras, authentic scriptures, as in Bhagavatam. It's called Amal Puran, as it deals with the Supreme Lord and devotees. It helps us to understand the science of Krishna, the Bhagavad Dharma, which is the real education. And it explains us what's our aim of life by Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, constantly thinking of the Lord and help us to go back home to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Well, all these mellows are transcendental. Huh? The
Yes.
Shantaras, not only
Yeah.
Madhurya.
Yeah, it's considered fullest, something like this you mentioned yesterday, out of
Yeah,
Shanta, Dasya, they all are transcendental, but this is considered
it's the
the most
highest.
highest. Yeah, that's what you
Highest.
mentioned.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah,
the highest. All
yes,
are transcendental. Okay,
all are
going
transcendental.
on.
Thank you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Text 46. Ya etat punyam akhyanam
Yeah,
Yeah,
etat punyam akyanam
Akyanam
Vishnur viryopabrim hitam
Vishnu
Vishnu Video
Viryo
Parabrimhitam
kirtayech shraddaya shrutva
Kitayet Shraddhaya
Daya
Shrutva
Shutva
karma pasher vimuchyate.
Karma
Karma
Pashir
Sure
Vimuchyate.
Vimuchyate.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. One who hears and chants this narration about the omnipotence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu is certainly liberated from material bondage without fail. Jai. So here is a benediction. By hearing this pastime or by chanting this pastime, one gets liberation without fail. Also written without fail. So we don't need to doubt it. Okay. एतद्य आदिपुरुषस्य मृगेन्द्रलीलाम्
तद्य आदि पुरुषस्य मृगेन्द्रलीला
दैत्येन्द्रयुथापवदं प्रयतः पठेत
दैत्येन्द्रयूथापवतां प्रयत्पठेता
दैत्यात्मजस्य च सतां प्रवरस्य पुण्यम्
दैत्यात्मजस्य च सतां प्रवरस्य पुण्यम्
श्रुत्वानुभावम् अकुतो भयम् एति लोकम्
श्रुत्वानुभावम् अकुतो भयम् एति लोकम्
Hare Krishna Shilpa
प्रहलाद
ji, I just wanted to say that
हाँ
Hare Krishna Shilpa ji, I just wanted to say one thing. In the previous one, you mentioned that this is the benediction. And I remember there was one Leela that the benediction was given when we read it thrice. And I'm
yeah
forgetting, right?
yeah
So, but
there
like,
was one of them that we read it 3 times, then we actually
yeah,
read it 3 times.
yeah. And then we got the benediction. And like this one, it is again that we just read and we got it. Like, so I was thinking that, wow, like we read that 3 times to get it. I was just, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
forget
sorry.
also which one it was. No, but yeah.
I'm
And
also
see,
not
so
remembering
kind.
exactly.
Is
This is,
Puranjanan's story?
I can't remember. I don't know
No, it
what
wasn't
story it
Puranjan.
was.
It wasn't
I'm,
Puranjan. It was
yeah, I
some
don't
great
think.
devotee, Dhruv
Yeah,
Maharaj or somebody. I'm not exactly sure. But we read the
yeah,
translation 3 times. Yeah.
yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah.
And but see
So,
how
but
kind and see how purifying it
yes,
is. That means to hear
yes,
about the Lord and His devotee, that it helps us
yes,
get free from the bondage.
yeah,
We hear other
yeah.
things, it helps us get more in bondage.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing about the Lord frees us.
Mm.
Okay, thank you. Prahlāda Maharaj was the best among exalted devotees. Anyone who with great attention hears this narration concerning the activities of Prahlāda Maharaj, the killing of Hiranyakashipu, and the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Nishmadev surely reaches the spiritual world where there is no anxiety. Once again, Narad Muni is saying. So first he said, without a doubt you will get liberated, without fail. Again he is saying one who hears about Prahlāda Maharaj and about the activities of Lord Nishingadev and how he killed Hiranyakashipu, surely, surely. So Narad Muni is being very, he's saying it's for sure, you shouldn't have any doubt. Surely reaches the spiritual world where there is no anxiety. Prahlāda Maharaj ki jai, Nishinga Bhagavan ki jai. Okay. यूयं निर्लोके बत भूरिभागा
Yuyam
Yam
nirloke
niloke pat bhurirbhaga
लोकं पुनानामनयो भियन्ति
lokam
lokam
punana
punana
ya
manayo abhiyanti
abhiyanti
येषां गृहान् आवसतीति साक्षात्
yesham
yesam
grahan
grihan avasatiti
avasati iti sakshat
sakshat
गूढं परं ब्रह्म मनुष्यलिङ्गम्
gudam
param
param
brahma
manushyalingam.
manushyaling
Narad Muni continued, my dear Maharaj Yudhishthir, all of you, the Pandavas, are extremely fortunate, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna lives in your palace just like a human being. Great saintly persons know this very well, and therefore they constantly visit this house. After hearing about the activities of Prahlad Maharaj, a pure devotee should be very anxious to follow in his footsteps. But such a devotee might be disappointed, thinking that not every devotee can come to the standard of Prahlad Maharaj. This is the nature of a pure devotee. He always thinks himself to be the lowest, to be incompetent and unqualified. Thus, after hearing the narration of Prahlad Maharaj's activities, Maharaj Yudhishthir, who was on the same standard of devotional service as Prahlad, might have been thinking of his own humble position. Narad Muni, however, could understand Maharaj Yudhishthir's mind, and therefore he immediately encouraged him by saying that the Pandavas were not less fortunate. They were as good as Prahlad Maharaj, because although Lord Nishimadev appeared for Prahlad, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his original form as Krishna, was always living with the Pandavas. Although the Pandavas, because of the influence of Krishna's Yogamaya, could not think of their fortunate position, every saintly person, including the great sage Narad, could understand it, and therefore they constantly visited Maharaj Yudhishthir. So, Narad Muni, after glorifying Prahlad Maharaj, after glorifying Nishinga Dev, he's saying, the Pandavas are very fortunate because God Himself is living with you as your family member. He's your cousin. Yeah, because Prabhupada is explaining that Yudhishthir Maharaj might feel himself so, oh, Prahlad Maharaj is so nice, so great. No, out of humility, he may feel something. So Narad Muni wants to encourage him and say, oh, this is the reason we keep coming and going in your house, because we find Krishna here always. Any pure devotee I'm sorry, who is constantly conscious of Krishna is naturally very fortunate. The word nirloke, meaning within the material world, indicates that before the Pandavas, there had been many, many devotees, such as the descendants of the Yadu dynasty and Vashishta, Marichi, Kashyapa, Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva, who were all extremely fortunate. The Pandavas, however, were better than all of them. Why the Pandavas are better than all the other great personalities?
Because
Because
Pandavas got the, so yeah, you can say Sneha.
no, you can.
Because he was personally
They
living with
got the
them.
association. They were
Yeah,
personally there
Yes.
with
yeah,
Krishna.
He lived with
yeah,
them, yeah.
yeah, that's right.
And
Narad Muni,
being
therefore,
yeah,
I'm
related
sorry,
to them and
he's
related
related to,
doesn't. Yeah.
yeah, he's the cousin. And then sometimes we may say cousin, but don't even meet them, right? Full life may
Yeah.
pass by and not meet, but Krishna is living with them. Anytime, any problem, Krishna was there. Immediately he would come. Yeah. So much his heart was with the Pandavas. Narad Muni therefore specifically mentioned that within this material world, Nirloke, the Pandavas were the most fortunate. Most fortunate. Sava ayam brahma mahad vimrikya
Sava
Va ayam Brahma mahad
Vimriya
vimriya
kaivalya nirvana sukhanubhuti.
Kaivalya nirvana
Nirvana
sukhanubhuti.
Kaivalya
Sukhanubhuti.
Priya suhrit vakhalu matul leya.
Priya
Priya hasure
Kaluma
makhlu matulya.
Matuliya.
Atmar haniyo vidikrit guruscha.
Atma
Atma
Haniya
haniyo
Atmananiyo
vitikret guruscha.
Guruscha.
The impersonal Brahman is Krishna himself, because Krishna is the source of the impersonal Brahman. He's the origin of the transcendental bliss sought by great saintly persons. Yet he, the Supreme Person, is your most dear friend and constant well-wisher, and is intimately related to you as the son of your maternal uncle. Indeed, he's always like your body and soul. He's worshipable, yet he acts as your servant and sometimes as your spiritual master. There's always a difference of opinion about the absolute truth. One class of transcendentalists concludes that the absolute truth is impersonal, and another class concludes that the absolute truth is a person. In Bhagavad Gita, the absolute truth is accepted as the Supreme Person. Indeed, that Supreme Person himself, Lord Krishna, instructs in Bhagavad Gita, Brahmano hi pratishtaham mata parataram nanyat. The impersonal Brahman is my partial manifestation, and there is no truth superior to me. So Prabhupada is explaining that those who are searching after the truth, some of them may, or those who are trying to understand God, so some may come to the conclusion that God is impersonal, he has no form. But of course, the devotees understand that God is a person, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his form is the most beautiful. And in Bhagavad Gita, of course, Sri Bhagwan Uvacha, Srila Vyasadeva keeps mentioning that. And Krishna himself is saying that the Brahman is coming from him, that everything is situated on him. There's no truth superior to him. That same Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, acted as the supreme friend and relative of the Pandavas. And sometimes he even acted as a servant. How? By carrying a letter from the Pandavas to Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. So because Krishna was the well-wisher of the Pandavas, he also acted as guru by becoming the spiritual master of Arjuna. Arjuna accepted Krishna as a spiritual master. Shishyasteham sadhi mam tvam prapanam. And Krishna sometimes chastised him. For example, the Lord said, Ashochayan anvashochasvam pragyavadamscha bhashase. While speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Because Arjuna in the first chapter, he kept saying, oh, I can't fight. And then he was giving the reasons why you can't fight. Or he can't fight because if he kills his family members, he will have sinful reactions. He said the family tradition will be lost. If family tradition is lost, there will be Varna Shankara, unwanted population. The women will be misguided and there'll be unwanted population. So Arjuna gives so many reasons. And then he tells Krishna, oh, now I don't know what to do. I accept you as my spiritual master. He changes that relationship as friends because Krishna and Arjuna, they were friends. But now Arjuna is so overwhelmed, he really doesn't know what to do. He's saying to Krishna, now I accept you as my spiritual master. Please tell me what to do. So first thing Krishna tells him, he says, you're speaking as if you're very learned, but actually you're just lamenting. You're mourning for what is not worthy of grief. You're coming across as a very learned person, but what you're saying doesn't make sense. And then Krishna speaks Bhagavad Gita. So also we can see that Krishna does not speak till the time Arjuna does not ask for instruction. Sometimes, or most of the times we are ready to give instructions to people. You do like this, don't do like this. They didn't even ask us and we are telling people what to do. But Krishna, after Arjuna told him, okay, now you tell me what I should do. Then Krishna starts giving him the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, the Lord also said, Kutastva kashmalam idam vishame samupasthitam. My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? Because Krishna was saying, hey, you are an Aryan. Have you seen your position, your caliber? How come you're speaking? What are you speaking? So such was the intimate relationship between the Pandavas and Krishna. In the same way, a pure devotee of the Lord is always with Krishna through thick and thin. His way of life is Krishna. This is the statement of the authority Sri Narad Muni. So Krishna is always with the devotee is always with Krishna. Comments?
Hare Krishna. Firstly, I want to say we have started reading with Bhavna, Bhagavad Gita, and we were just here. We just finished this when Arjuna called out to Krishna as Guru. He accepted him as a Guru, and we are going to read further next week. It just reminded the whole story when you have actually summarized the whole story we read. So very beautiful. Thanks for reminding, Hare Krishna. And then, reading this, it just makes me feel that, how we can't understand, we don't acknowledge, why some people are there in our life. Maybe they are for our good. So, how Narad Muni is explaining Yudhishthira also, you are the most fortunate. They can't see, they are not able to see it, that he is very much there. They are the most fortunate of all. So sometimes we don't acknowledge, right? That, oh, that person is there in my life for good. Like you said before, we have our cousins, we don't even know, We are so far away in Taiwan, we haven't met them for years. It just reminds me that while when I go back, I should get in touch with them and try to see them now more often. We don't know, what we are losing. Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
So
Hare
true.
Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay. Na yasya sakshat bhavapadmajadibi
Yesha sakshat bhavapadmajadivi
rupam diyavastutayopavarnitam
Rupam diyavastutayopavarnitam
maunena bhakti shamena pujita
Maunena bhaktyopasamena pujitaha
prasidatam esha sasatvatam pate.
Prasidatam prasatvatam patihi.
Exalted persons like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma could not properly describe the truth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. May the Lord, who is always worshipped as the protector of all devotees by great saints, who observe vows of silence, meditation, devotional service, and renunciation, be pleased with us. The absolute truth is sought by different persons in different ways, yet he remains inconceivable. Nonetheless, devotees like the Pandavas, the Gopis, the cowherd boys, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and all the inhabitants of Vrindavan do not need to practice conventional processes of meditation to attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for he remains with them through thick and thin. Therefore, a saint like Narad, understanding the difference between the transcendentalist and pure devotees, always prays that the Lord will be pleased with him. So, like devotees like the gopis, they don't have to endeavor to remember Krishna. They say we can't forget Krishna even if we want to. The gopis, after Krishna left, they were so heartbroken. They said, even if we want to forget you, we can't forget you. Imagine. And we say, what? We want to remember you, we can't remember you. I can just say for myself. But so these like they are exalted devotees. Their relationship with Krishna is so sweet that they can never forget Krishna. So that's why Narad Muni is saying, may the Lord be pleased with us. Sa Esha Bhagavan Rajan
Say Isha Bhagavan Rajan
Vyatanot Vihatam Yasha
Yatanot Vihatam Yashaha
Pura Rudrasya Devasya
Purarudrasya Devasya
Maye Mayen Anantamayina.
Mayan Anantam
My dear King Yudhishthir, long, long ago in history, a demon known as Mayadanav, who was very expert in technical knowledge, reduced the reputation of Lord Shiva. In that situation, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, saved Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is known as Mahadev, the most exalted demigod. Thus, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that although Lord Brahma did not know the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shiva could have known them. This historical incident proves that Lord Shiva derives power from Lord Krishna, the Parabrahman. So, Lord Shiva, why is he known as Mahadev?
He's the
most
topmost devta. He's the
Mm.
topmost devta.
Yeah,
That's
topmost of all the devtas. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that by this pastime, maybe Lord Brahma doesn't know. But by this pastime, Lord Shiva can really say because he personally experienced that Krishna saved him. Lord Shiva derives power from Lord Krishna, it says. Okay, Rajovacha.
Rajovacha
Kasmin karmani devasya
Tasmin
Tasmin
karmani
karmani devasya
mayohan jagat ishitu
mahyoyan
Mahyohan jagat ishituhu
yatha chopachita kirti
yatha
Yatha
chopachita
chopachita kirtihi
Kirti
krishnena nena katyatam.
krishnena
Krishnanena katyatam.
Maharaj Yudhishthir said, for what reason did the demon Mayadana vanquish Lord Shiva's reputation? How did Lord Krishna save Lord Shiva and expand his reputation again? Kindly describe these incidents. So now we are going to another pastime. Sri Narada Vacha
Sri
Srinarada
Narada Vacha
Nirjita Asura Dever
Nirjita
Nirjita
Asura
Asura
Deva
Devi
Yudhi Anenopabrimhite
Yudhi
Yudhi
Aneno Parabrimhite
Mainam Param Acharyam
Mayina
Mainam
Param Acharyam
Paramacharyam
Mayam Sharanam Ayayu.
Mayam
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 Sharanam
Sharanam
Ayayu.
Narad Muni said, when the demigods, who are always powerful by the mercy of Lord Krishna, fought with the Asuras were defeated and therefore they took shelter of Mayadana, the greatest of the demons. So at this point of time, this Mayadanav, he is the greatest of demons. All the demons are asking him to protect them. Sa Nirmaya Puras Tisro.
Sanirmaya Purastishru
Hemi Ropyas Yasir Vibhu.
Hemi Ropyaya Sir Vibhu
Durlakshya Yapaya Samyoga.
Durlaksha Ampaya Samyoga
Durvit Durvitarkya Parichada.
Durvitarkya
Durvitarkya
Parichadaha
Tabhiste Surasenanyo.
Tabiste Asura Senanyo
Nanyo
Lokam Strincheshwaran Ripa.
Lokam
Lokam
Strincheshwaran Ripa
Smaranto Nashayam Chakru.
Smarantu
Smaranto
Nashayam
Nashayam
Chakruhu
Chakru
Purva Vairam Alakshita.
Purva Vairam
Vairam
Alakshataha
Mayadanav, the great leader of the demons, prepared 3 invisible residences and gave them to the demons. These dwellings resembled airplanes made of gold, silver, and iron, and they contained uncommon paraphernalia. My dear King Yudhishthir, because of these 3 dwellings, the commanders of the demons remained invisible to the demigods. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the demons, remembering their former enmity, began to vanquish the 3 worlds, the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. So he's given them 3 huge palaces or whatever, residence. which is like flying, resembling airplanes. So maybe they can fly from one place to another. Like flying cities, it's kind of looks like that. Gold, silver, and iron made of these metals. And the speciality was that they could not be seen. And because they could not be seen, they are now fighting the demigods. Tataste shesh loka
Tataste
Tataste
Sheshvara
Ishvara
Loka
Loka
upasadayeshwaram nataha
Upasatyaram Nataha
Upasatyaram
trahinastavakan
Trahinastavakam Deva
Deva
vinashtam stripuralaye.
Vinishtam
Vinashtam
Tripuralaye.
Tripuralaye.
Thereafter, when the demons had begun to destroy the higher planetary systems, the rulers of those planets went to Lord Shiva, fully surrendered unto him, and said, Dear Lord, we demigods living in the three worlds are about to be vanquished. We are your followers. Kindly save us. Athanugraya Bhagavan
Athanugriya
Bhagavan
Bhagavan
Ma Bhaishteti Suran Vibhuhu
Ma Vaisteti Suran
Vibhu
Vibhu
Sharam Dhanushi Sandhaya
Sharam
Sharam
Dhanusi
Dhanushi
Sandhaya
Sandhaya
Pureshva Astram Vyamunchata.
Purishva Astram
Purishvastram
Yamunchata.
Yamunchata.
The most powerful and able Lord Shiva reassured them and said, Do not be afraid. He then fixed his arrows to his bow and released them toward the three residences occupied by the demons. Tatogni Varna Ishava
Tato Varna Ishava
Vaishava
Utpetu Surya Mandala
Utpetu
Utpetu
Suryamandalat
Suryamandalat
Yatha Mayukha Sandoha
Yatha
Yatha
Mayukha
Mayuka
Sandoha
Sandoha
Nadrishyanta Puroyataha.
Nadrishanta
Nadrasyanta
Puroyataha.
Puroyataha.
The arrows released by Lord Shiva appeared like fiery beams emanating from the sun globe and covered the three residential airplanes, which could then no longer be seen. So Lord Shiva is releasing the arrows to he's completely covered the three aeroplanes with his arrows. Tes prishtabhya sabaha sarve
Sprishtabhya Sabha Sarve
Sarve
nipetu sma purokasaha
Nipetu Smapurakaha
tan aniya mahayogi
Tan Aniya
Mahayogi
Mahayogi
maya kuparase shipat.
Maya
Maya
Kuparase
Kuparasi.
Akshapat.
Attacked by Lord Shiva's golden arrows, all the demoniac inhabitants of those three dwellings lost their lives and fell down. Then the great mystic Mayadanav dropped the demons into a nectarian well that he had created. So they died. They fell down. Now Mayadanav has put them in a well which has this Amrit. The Asuras are generally extremely powerful because of their mystic yogic power. However, as Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 647, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatenantaratmana Shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mataha. Of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. So, who is the highest yogi? The Gyan Yogi, Dhyan Yogi, or Bhakta Yogi? Bhakti Yogi.
Bhakti Yogi.
Bhakti.
Yes, Bhakti Yogi. Thank you. The actual purpose of mystic yoga is to concentrate one's attention fully on the personality of Godhead Krishna and always think of him Mad Atmana. To attain such perfection, one must undergo a certain process, Hatha Yoga. And through this yoga system, the practitioner achieves some uncommon mystic power. So, by the yogic process, we go like this yam, niyam, then there is asan, then pranayam, then pratyahar, right? Those are the stages. Then dharna, then samadhi. So then during this process, what happens? That the yogi will get this ashta siddhis. This ashta siddhis the yogi is going to get. So the asuras, however, instead of becoming devotees of Krishna, utilize this mystic power for their personal sense gratification. Because now, suppose any of us had this mystic power, we may start thinking, oh, if I had this power, maybe I would do this. If I had that power, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could go here, maybe I could go there. Anyway, so the demons are misusing it, using for their personal sense gratification. Mayadana, for example, is mentioned here as Mahayogi, a great mystic, but his business was to help the asuras. Nowadays, we are actually seeing that there are some yogis who cater to the senses of materialists, and they are imposters who advertise themselves as God. Mayadana was such a person, a god among the demons, and he could perform some wonderful feats, one of which is described here. He made a well filled with nectar and dipped the asuras into that nectarian well. This nectar was known as Mrita Sanjeevayitari, for it could bring a dead body to life. Mrita Sanjeevayitari is also an Ayurvedic preparation. It is a kind of liquor that invigorates even a person on the verge of death. So Mayadana. Now he's bringing all the demons back to life by his mystic power with this Mrita Sanjeevayitari. We'll continue reading tomorrow. This pastime of what happens. Anyone wanted to say anything before we end today's reading?
Hare Krishna, Shilpa
Hare
ji,
Krishna.
in the Krishna book we have read before that about this plane, because I remember we have read about this plane that had come, and when Krishna and Balramji were not there in the city and they had gone out, and then their son Pradyuman had fought, and this kind of plane had appeared, and he was not able to fight, but he tried his best.
Okay.
I'm forgetting that what was the context, and because this plane had appeared and it was invisible, exactly like what Mayadana plane looked like. So that plane was also invisible.
Okay. So soon coming up when we read the 10th canto.
Yeah, we'll be
Yeah,
reading.
because we read
Yes.
it in the Krishna
Yeah,
book.
Krishna
Krishna
book.
book.
It sounds very familiar. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what.
it's very, very familiar that we have read about this
Yeah.
invisible plane, and
Mm.
it had so many people. It was full city and everything was there and it was magical. And yeah, so Pradyuman had fought,
Okay. I don't
one of
remember
the
the
sons
pastime
of
actually.
Krishna.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, I don't
yeah,
remember the pastime. Sorry about that. But yeah, we'll soon read it in the 10th canto
yeah.
coming up.
And like this point is also so beautiful here, that how Mayadana used his siddhis, he was misusing his siddhis. And like that's what it happens. Like again, then the point is that with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
That if you get the power, you have to act really responsibly. If you don't, then yes, you become an asur, like you're called asur. Though Krishna loves all, he never
Yeah.
differentiates, he's not partial, he loves all. But because of our own deeds, how we act with that power, we are called demigod or demon.
Yeah, so
Mm.
true. Yeah, so true.
The same Hiranyakashipu, na? That
Yeah,
also
Oh,
we
yeah.
he
just
did
read
so
that.
much
Yeah.
penance, and yeah, he got the power, but he misused.
That's right. So true.
Yeah,
Misusing our power. Yeah, so true. These demons were misusing their powers.
yeah,
Okay.
and also about the one that we read, that if you read 3 times this
Hmm.
pastime, then
Hmm.
you get liberated, and I mean, from your desires, you can fulfill your desire. It's about Dhruv Maharaj. So I
Mm.
remember.
It was
Yeah,
Dhruv
That's
it's
what
Maharaj,
I
is it?
remember. It was
Dhruv
about the.
Maharaj. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, really? It was Dhruv
yeah,
Maharaj's. Oh,
Dhruv
wow.
Maharaj. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Mhm.
So nice to hear about these devotees,
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
right?
They're so
Yeah, thank
powerful,
you.
right?
Yeah, yeah, they're so pure that
They're so
hearing about
pure.
them purifies our heart also.
Hmm. And it frees us from all material desires. Like Prahlāda Maharaj, he's just saying that no material desire at all.
Yeah,
So it's very difficult. We ask.
yeah, so true. It's difficult for
Yeah.
us
Yes,
because we
very,
have
very
so
difficult, no
many,
matter.
so that's why we need the help, no, of all these devotees.
Hmm.
As much as we
Yes,
can hear about them, the better for us.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, because our heart is so much filled with all these desires.
And like how you also mentioned the Amal Puran. Like this is the nectar. This is so powerful in itself. Like we think that like how it is mentioned as Amal Puran, and even if you read one verse of it, it is so powerful.
Yeah,
It
it's
can
true.
purify you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true.
Wow.
Thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada
Jai.
ki jai, Gaur Bhakti
Jai.
Vrinda ki jai.